Good afternoon, respected Director, Professor Umesh Kumar sir, Dean Academic, Dr. Bhaskar Gupta sir, Dean R&D, as well as Speaker of the today's event, Dr. Surya Prasad sir, all the HODs, faculty members, and dear students. Thank you all for being here with us today. I, Engineer Lavkush Mishra, Chief Proctor and Head ED Cell, IMT College of Polytechnic, Greater Noida. I'm very pleased to welcome our Director, Professor Umesh Kumar sir, for giving us permission for conducting this guest lecture event. Sir always inspire us for doing some new and special things for the benefit of our students as well as our organization. I would like to welcome today's guest speaker, Dr. Surya Prasad sir, for being here with his valuable time. Now, I would like to invite our director sir for some motivational words. Now over to director sir.
Thank you, Dr. Lavkush Mishra. And good afternoon, one and all present here and connected on the live session. Today's session is really a very useful session for the faculty, staff and students of IMT College of Polytechnic. Not only IMT College of Polytechnic, it is useful for every entrepreneur. If any student or if anybody want to have any kind of dreams, he want to be the rich person or he want to be better is to say that if he want to be a successful person, now it is very bright futures that you can be an entrepreneur. Basically, we use the terms for the entrepreneur, those who want to start their own business and have some kind of innovative ideas. And I hope that the today's session will be very useful, important for each and everyone. I also request to each and every students, if you have any queries, you can write in the chat box. From there, we will take your questions to the speaker. I officially welcome the speaker of the day, Dr. Surya Prasad, Dean R&D, IMT College of Polytechnic, and all the guests connected on the screen. And I appreciate the efforts of our ED cell of IMT College of Polytechnic. They have taken an initiative to start the series on the entrepreneur. It is a second session by on the day. Before that, Dr. Bhaskar Gupta, Dean Academic, already given that how to start the entrepreneurs, what are the pitch, how to set the pitch for the entrepreneur. Today's session, and we also have a series of the this entrepreneur. Next session will be taken by me. I am doing my advertisement here in advance that the investors for the entrepreneurs. So with the hope that today's session will be fruitful and useful for everyone and everyone will enjoy. So I request to Dr. Lavkush Mishra sir to proceed for the session.
Thank you, Director sir. Now I would like to invite Speaker of the Day, Dr. Surya Prasad sir, for starting the lecture. Over to Director Surya Prasad sir.
Sir, your voice is not clear. Please unmute yourself.
Now I'm audible. Am I sounding?
Yeah, sir. Now you are audible.
Okay. Please. Okay. Good afternoon to everybody, and I am thankful to Director IMT Polytechnic for this opportunity for me to deliver the lecture on entrepreneurship. So first I share the screen, then I will proceed for further discussion. My screen is visible to everybody?
Sir, please make it full screen.
Yes, yes. Now it is visible to everybody?
Okay, sir. Yes, good. Keep it.
Okay. So today I am going to deliver my lecture on entrepreneurship as a career option for technocrats. First, business entrepreneurship is to start a business. To start a business, you have to prepare yourself financially and emotionally. Your passion for your product or service and tolerance are major points which will help you to run a successful business. First, I want to explain what is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is a procedure of designing, beginning, and running a new business. Start up a company offering either a product or service. Startup means what? It is just always to produce a physical product. Sometimes you are providing service like hotel, tourism, and others. Most people think like being an entrepreneur is about with a new idea for the business, but it does not stop here. Also includes that how you will reach to the customers in an affordable and effective way. In a simple way, we can say that entrepreneurship means creating new things or add to something in conventional business. First, I want to explain what is the entrepreneur. A person who sets up business on taking the financial risk in the hope to take profit is known as entrepreneur. The entrepreneur is a loan word from the French language, firstly used in 1973. Entrepreneur is an innovative or independent-minded business person. Entrepreneur creates either products or services. They are job providers rather than job seekers. Scope of entrepreneurship. There are a lot of scope in the field of entrepreneurship. After completing your education, you may open your own startup. The scope of entrepreneurship in India or abroad is tremendous. Nowadays, the youth of our country is much more focused towards starting their own business. This has given rise to the new startup in the country. Can engineers become entrepreneurs? Engineers can turn into proven entrepreneurs since they have the required skill set up to the startup that have been developed over years of handling projects and solving big issues. Entrepreneurs has been the focal point for quite some time, and it seems to be as one of the high demanding career path. For both entrepreneurs and engineers, self-consciousness, analysis, and reflection are paramount. Both require to study their projects, to prototype better solutions and alterations fast and persist even if problems crop up. Entrepreneurship emerges as a career option for the Indian students. Entrepreneurship as a profession gives a great sense of independence and remarkable amount of job satisfaction. Entrepreneur and engineer similarities means for starting a new business or become an entrepreneur, engineer is having more opportunities. Being an entrepreneur is essentially about exploring the perfect market. Entrepreneurship and engineers at first look like dissimilar paths without crossovers. However, when looking in a closer angle, you experience that entrepreneurs and engineers have many common things. In reality, many successful entrepreneurs and business personalities start with an education and training background in engineering. Examples like Ratan Tata, Bill Gates, and are just some of the famous entrepreneurs who all started their careers in engineering. Both entrepreneurs and engineers deal with high amounts of risk in their work. One important thing is the commitment. Both entrepreneurs and engineers is a committed person. Commitment is required to be accomplished in both the fields. 3 reasons why engineers can be good entrepreneurs too. First one, engineers are capable of solving problems. Second one, engineers are optimistic. Third one, engineers have modesty and longing for knowledge. First point I explained just. Engineers are capable of solving problems. Engineers are Logically, the engineering field is replete with people who are well trained, a variety of problems. Engineers are given training to think logically and follow a methodology to find the solution. This is how the engineering industry brings value to the customers. It forms the basis of developing business. Engineers are optimistic. Engineering courses educate a student to persist with even in a difficult situation. And engineers always come up with a positive frame of mind and give up until a solution is found. An entrepreneur should preserve and should continue to move in the face of difficult moment. An individual attitude and approach spell out the difference between success and failure. Engineers have modesty and a longing for knowledge. As I explained the three things, similarity between engineers and entrepreneurs, this is the third point. Engineers have modesty and longing for knowledge. And engineers are not scared to learn new things and gain more knowledge. But engineers always want to learn something, new things, and this is the good approach. Then engineer can be an entrepreneur. This attitude results in the growth of individual as well as that of the company. Once a new product or service is launched in the market, it falls engineer to identify the best target market for the products. Means when any new things comes in the market, then who is there to search the market? That work is always provided to the engineers. Though an entrepreneur has an engineering background, still it will come in the way of casting a positive influence on the firm. Which engineering is best for entrepreneurship? Sometimes it is asked which engineering field is the best if you want to become an entrepreneur or entrepreneurship. You can become an entrepreneur by doing any branch of engineering. It is in any branch of engineering you get exposure, sufficient exposure to run a business or to start a startup. All branches will give sufficient exposure to start your own business in your engineering branch of specialization. Means all the branches are equally important to become an entrepreneur. The skills engineers need for success. A good grasp of engineering principles coupled with problem solving skills and aptitude to learn new technology will go a long way in enhancing the success rates of engineering turned entrepreneurs. STEM means S means science, T for technology, E for engineering, and M for math. These four things are required for solving any difficult problems: science, technology, engineering, and maths. Engineers need to do a balance act. Being a capable engineer need you to solve tough problems and navigate around adverse situations when they arise. There is little structure and abundant complexity that you require to navigate daily as someone who is heading a startup. You are required to evaluate risks and challenges with wisdom with the situation accordingly. My focus is here something new, that is lean startup. Lean startup means what? It is a new thing I want to add here. Till now, I explained the entrepreneurship and how the engineers can be entrepreneurs and what are similarity between entrepreneurship and engineers. And this is the new concept, that is lean startup. What is the lean startup? That is lean, it's a new concept. Traditional principles advise entrepreneurs to develop the products in stealth mode, thereby keeping the product it is not shown to any unknown person. Means they want to keep the product in the lean startup methodology calls for entrepreneur to show their business ventures by searching for a business model, then testing their ideas. Conventional method is what? We want to just hide the things. What is our products and what is our service? This is hidden. But in the lean startup concept, what is that? You are exploring in the market and feedback is taken from the customers. Our product will be suitable for the market or not. It is not hidden. It is explored in the market. So feedback from potential customers is then used to adjust ideas as they move forward. So this is the new concept in the lean entrepreneurship concept. Lean is, what is the lean? Before explaining further for lean startup, I want to explain the lean concept. What is the lean concept? Because this lean startup is a lean concept is what? Lean concept is for the manufacturing. Because if you are producing any product, that is what? That is the manufacturing. You have to manufacture the products. So first I want to explain the lean manufacturing concept. Then I'll further explain what is the lean startup. So first I want to explain the lean manufacturing. Lean manufacturing is the methodology that focus on minimizing waste within the manufacturing system while simultaneously maximizing productivity. Means what is the lean concept? You are targeting to reduce the waste and increasing the productivity. In the concept of lean, what is the meaning of waste? That I want to explain first. Some of the benefits of lean manufacturing can include reduced lead time, reduced operating cost, and improved product quality. The term lean manufacturing refers to the application of practices, principles, and law tools to the development, manufacture of physical products. To achieve that goal, lean manufacturing defines waste as anything other than that does not add value to the customers. In the concept of lean, what is the meaning of waste? Just you can see from here. In the concept of lean, these are 8 points. These 8 points are considered as the waste in the concept of lean. What are those 8 points? First one is the overproduction. And first one is the overproduction. Second one is time on hand, means waiting. Third one is transportation. Fourth is overprocessing. Fifth is excess inventory, waste of movement, defective products, and underutilized workers. Means in the concept of lean, waste doesn't mean the waste of time and the waste of materials. In the concept of lean, these 8 things are the waste. Overproduction, time on hand, means waiting of equipment, waiting of peoples. All these things are the waste in the concept of lean. Transportation, unnecessary transportation. You are moving the product from here to there without any purpose. That is the waste. Overprocessing, excess inventory, waste of movement, defective products. Now these 8 points will be explained in brief, just one by one. First, I'm explaining what is the meaning of overproduction. Producing more than the customer demand is known as overproduction. Means if you're producing more than the demand of the customer, that comes under the heading of overproduction. You are not having the demand from the customer side, and you are producing and keeping. It is it is a problem. Actually, overproduction causes the other 6 waste. What other 6 waste means? As I showed in the last slide, this is the 8 waste. Overproduction cause of other cause of waste also. The reason is that excess product to task require additional cost. Means you are producing, demand is not there, and you are producing the product. It additional cost required, transportation, excessive motions, waiting time, and so on. Furthermore, if occasionally a defect appears during the production, it means your team will need to do extra work for that. Now, second waste, as I explained, the lean concept is the waiting. This is probably the easiest ways you can recognize whenever goods or tasks are not moving. The waiting, it is easily identifiable because waiting time is the obviously thing you can detect. For example, goods waiting to be delivered means you are having the products waiting for delivered, equipment waiting to be fixed. You have purchased the equipment and it is not fixed, waiting, then it is don't produce any product. So this is the waste in the concept of lean, or a document waiting for executive approval and so on. So waiting, you have to always try to reduce the waiting. Waste of transportation, excessive movement of materials can costly to organization and cause degradation to quality. Somebody may think that why this lean concept is explained here in the topic of entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship means you are going to produce a product, and how the product can be at the minimum cost and better quality, then you can survive in the market. So this concept is essentially required when you are going to do a startup, and you have to follow all those things. Waste of processing means processing is always required to produce a product, but if you are doing extra processing, which is not customer is not going to pay, this comes under the heading of waste. But this type of waste usually reflects on doing work that does not bring additional value. Such thing can be adding extra features to a given product that nobody will use, but they increase your business cost. Even more, it will cost resource. It will cost resource, and it will increase end price of the product for something that customers are not willing to pay for. Okay. Next, I am going for another waste is the inventory. Inventory means what? Inventory may be of raw materials. Inventory may be of work in process inventories, and inventory may be of finished products. Excess inventory is waste in the concept of lean. If you are starting a business, if you are starting any entrepreneurship, then you have to think this thing also. Inventory always means what? Inventory means you are keeping the raw materials for suppose 20 days, 30 days. And it is better what? It is better to have, you have a supplier who can supply you the materials every day or in 2 days. You have to search a supplier like that. Rather to keep the inventory for more and more days, because if more inventory means it requires cost, it requires additional space and other things. So it is the waste in the concept of lean. In such cases, company overstock themselves into meet unexpected demands. People think if you any organization think that unexpected demands may come, but often this in place of benefit, you are going in loss if you are keeping extra inventory, because it takes a space, it takes cost and other things. And they only increase in storage depreciation, because if you are keeping the inventory, if it is for 1 year, 2 years, then the quality of the product will also degrade. Waste of making defective products. Sometimes you see in the industry, any industry, try to produce more and more product. What happens? The problem which sometimes it happens that many products are rejected, means defective products are produced. And defective products, if you're producing defective products, it again is a waste in the concept of lean. So defects can cause, if the product is defect, what will happen? You have to rework, or even worse, they can be your scrap. Scrap means rejected product, and it is totally the loss of money in terms of different processing, whatever done on that product. Usually defective products should go back to product again, which cost valuable time. So these are the lean concept. Lean startup, what is the lean startup? Now I come for lean startup. So by the application, by the concept of lean concept was from the Toyota company, Japan. And on that concept basis, when a startup now become a common practice in the world. So lean startup is a new concept. It is just 10 years back, it come in the market. So lean startup method used to found a new company, introduce a new product on behalf of an existing common products. The lean startup method advocates developing products. Consumers have already demonstrated their desires, so that market will already exist as soon as the product is launched in the market. Means what is the lean concept? Lean startup means what? Means if you are lean startup means you are launching the product in the market which is already existing in the market, and you are giving some additional features and all those, so that for that particular product customer is available in the market. You have to not just a trial and error, just a product totally new, and customer may be there, may not be there. So that risk will not be there. And opposed to developing a product and then hoping that demand will emerge. Gauging consumer interest by employing lean startup principles, product developers can consumer interest in the product and determine how the product might need to be refined. This process is called validated learning, and it can be utilized to the unnecessary use of resources in product creation and development. Means you are testing product, you are taking the feedback from the customers, and you are testing by using the software and others before it is going for actual production. So that will, if it fails, so then you are not going to lose much. If you are producing a new product directly without taking the feedback of the customers, without testing with the present software available in the market, then it gets lost if it fails in the market. What is the goal of lean thinking? The goal of lean thinking is to deliver the maximum customer value in the shortest sustainable and lead time while providing highest possible quality to customers and society as a whole. Requirement for lean startup. The lean startup method considers experiment to more valuable than detailed planning, 5-year business plans. This earlier conventional method was what? You are just seeing the 5 years back data. For the particular product, what are the data for 5 years? And accordingly, you plan your business. It is, but in the lean concept, it is not a better way. What is the better way? Better way is what? You just plan today itself and take the feedback and test with the help of available software and other things. This is the lean startup methods. So data does not need to complete it before proceeding. It just need sufficient. When consumer do not react as desired, the startup quickly adjustable, limit its losses and return to developing product consumers wants. What happens? Failure is the rule, not the exception. Lean startup versus traditional startup. Lean startup means a new concept. Traditional startup is the old concept. Traditional means whatever coming from the previous times. The lean startup method also differentiates itself from the traditional business model when it comes into hiring. Lean startups hire workers. You see, it is the important things here. Lean startups hire workers. Means if you are producing any product, you should have the manpowers, and some manpowers may be the workers. So lean startups what do? Lean startups hire workers who can learn, adapt, and work quickly. What is the requirement? Workers, when they are selecting the workers, they see what? They see who can learn, who can adapt the new things, who can work quality. While traditional business hire workers based on experience. Traditional method was what? To hire the workers based on experience. But here, the lean startup concept says that you should hire the workers who can learn, adapt, and work accordingly. Lean startup also use different financial reporting metrics, instead focusing on income statements, balance sheet, and cash flow statements. Means what? Conventional method is what? You just see the balance sheet, cash flow, all these things are seen in the conventional methods of startup. But in the lean startup, what you see, they focus on customer education cost, lifetime customer value, customer churn rate. Means you are just focusing on what? You are focusing on customer acquisition cost, lifetime customers value. Means what the product which are selling the market, if the quality is better, then his customer is for whole life. Means for many more years, it will be with you. They will be with you. Customer churn rate and how viral the product could be. So lean startup think all those things. Lean startup, again, further I explain it. Traditional principle advise entrepreneurs to develop the products in stealth mode. Stealth mode means what? It means they hide the products. They don't want to explode in the market before coming in the market. Thereby keeping the product unknown to anybody, unknown to anyone beyond the startup workers and their investors. Conventional method says that the product just it should be shown to the workers and whoever involved in that particular process. What lean startup says? Lean startup method calls for entrepreneurs to business ventures by searching for a business model, then testing their ideas. And for testing ideas, one of the method is maybe feedback may be taken. So how feedback you can take? You have to keep your product in the market to take the feedback before going for actual manufacturing. Feedback from potential customers is then used to adjust ideas as they move forward. Toyota grows to the global giant that it is today. Many companies began to implement the Toyota model. Means lean concept started by the Toyota company, and Toyota was not a big company at the beginning, but nowadays it is one of the largest company in the world. So these are the concept of lean, which first started by the Toyota company. Whatever eight ways to I explained, just waiting inventory and other things that was started by the Toyota company. And Toyota has the many business, and Toyota always use a new concept. And means new concept means what? Just not innovation in producing the way of industrial engineering concept. Wherever you are going to produce a product, in addition to technology, it is essentially required that you should follow many of the industrial engineering concept. And you can see that in India, normally industrial engineering concepts are less implemented. You can see developed countries like America and others, you can find that 15% of engineers, suppose 100 engineers are working in industry, then 15 engineers are from industrial engineering backgrounds. They plan how can the inventory can be minimized, how the movement of equipment, movement of workers can be minimized, and all these things are taken into consideration. So this is the important things when you start to go a business, then either a big one or a small one, you must follow some industrial engineering concept for survival in the market. Just it is not enough to produce a product and sell in the market. If the cost of product is coming higher, obviously nobody will purchase it and your startup will fail. So industrial engineering concept is always required to be followed so that the product can be produced at the lower possible cost and with quality. Characteristic philosophy of lean startup. The lean startup methodology also advocates for entrepreneurs to continuously engage in this activity loop, exploring and developing hypotheses. That means continuous improvement is also required. Means just lean says what? Lean says that you have to continuously improve your product, continuously improve your process. Means it's a continuous process. It just not stop today. Since today one machine is highly efficient, sometimes other machines are coming in the market which are more efficient than that one. It is possible cases. So that is always you have to see continuous improvement. They test among customers, elicit feedback, something known as validated learning. Means customer feedback. Customer feedback is, you can see that many companies are taking customer feedback whenever either before launching the products or after launching the products. Customer feedback is very important part. If you are taking customer feedback, then you can improve the product according to the customer requirements. So customer feedback is always an important part. Whatever the products you are or service, not only products, sometimes service is also provided. Service is also one of the startup you can say. Like if you are starting a hotel business, or you are just suppose tourism and others, there are many business in which we are not just producing a physical product, but you're just providing the service. Entrepreneurs use the customer feedback to re-engineer their products. After taking feedback, suppose some companies are selling the laptops or mobiles or any small products in the market, they take the feedbacks by 10 to 12 points. What the new things customer demands, so that when they bring the new models, those things can be incorporated in that one and the products can be valuable. Lean startup also advocates for iterative or agile development concept adapted from the world of software development. Now many softwares are there in the markets. So before launching the products in the markets, you can, or before producing more numbers of physical products, you can just check by using the software what are the performance of that particular product, so that you will not lose much. If you are producing physically, then it will cost more, and there are many software in the market. You can test your product whether it is suitable or not, and what features you want to requirement of adding it. Okay, a lean startup will build a prototype. First, lean startup says what? First, you should make the prototype, not just actual products. Prototype, first you make the prototype, get it market successful of the product without expending unnecessary resources, and use the data generated by early marketing to influence the next build phase. In lean production, this approach is called Kaizen, and in programming, the approach is called Agile. Additionally, the lean startup methodology calls for entrepreneurs to develop minimum viable products. This advocates for entrepreneurs to adjust their products on customer feedback. Another key concept of the methodology that is called pivoting. Means you can see that two things are very important when you are going for lean startup. Means what are those two things? First one is the feedback from the customers at a different stage, and second one is using of software to test the products in without projecting physically or launching in the market. History of methodology. History of the methodology. What for what? For lean startup. So when the lean startup money concept comes in the market, that's I just explaining that is the history of the methodology. Several publications helps popularizing lean startup. The most recognized is Rise 2011. Rise, there's a book, 2011 book that explains the lean startup. Rise, who had studied a customer development course by Blank in the early 2000s, after Blank had investigated in his startup, drew inspiration from Toyota Agile approach. As I told you earlier also, this before lean startup, lean manufacturing concept was adopted by Toyota many years back. So then lean startup concept also inspiration is taken from the Toyota company. During inspiration from Toyota Agile approach to manufacturing known as lean manufacturing. Lean manufacturing means what? It is not some machines, but it says a concept of 8 waste, which I explained just before, sometimes in some slides. Lean manufacturing or lean production is a manufacturing methodology that values the ability to change that quickly. Just I'm taking a half-minute break. After that, I'm just explaining it. Okay. As I told that lean startup method comes in the market in 2011 by the book Lean Startup. Lean manufacturing or lean production is a manufacturing methodology that values the ability to change quickly. Rise called his approach Lean Startup. Rise was the author of this book, Lean Startup. In 2012, Blank and Bob Dorf published their handbook, the Startup Owners Manuals. So all these are the history from when the lean startup comes in the market. And conclusion what? To make transition into entrepreneurship, it necessarily involves a combination of business marketing and financial skills. Further, ability to turn risk into opportunity would enable the entrepreneur to drive his business forward. So just I am briefing it. Lean startup concept, there are two things to be kept in mind. First one is the feedback from the customers, and second one, using of software so that you can test your product in the market itself. Thank you. Thank you. It is all from my side.
Thank you, sir, for your nice presentation. Now, I would like to invite my friend, Dr. Ravinder Guwarji, for vote of thanks. Over to Ravinder, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Lavkush, sir. Oh, okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It has been such an honor to be the part of this wonderful session organized by EDCell, IIMT College of Polytechnic. On the behalf of EDCell, I'm glad to express my vote of thanks to everyone. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Suresh Prasad, sir, who is a professor and dean, research and development, IIMT College of Polytechnic, for their excellent lecture. I hope everyone will be benefited. A special thanks to our honorable Director Sir, IMT College of Polytechnic, for their motivation to organize such an event. Sincere thanks to our Dean, Dr. Bhaskar Gupta Sir. I would like to thank all the HODs of various departments for their kind support to organize such an event. Finally, I would like to thank all of you present here for making this session grand success. So this is from my side. Thank you, one and all. Over to you, Lavkush sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Arvind sir. Thank you, Director sir, for giving permission for nice session. And I think now session is over. Now you all can leave from here. Thank you, everyone.